Ryan. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec Podcast, where I'll help you create teams worth leading, because life's too short to lead a mediocre team. As always, I'm your host, Aviv Ben-Yosef, Tech Executive Coach and Consultant, and the subject today is arranging chairs on the deck of the Titanic. A mouthful, I know. Before getting started, I don't even remember if I said so here on the podcast yet, but if you've been listening, you know that I've got Unplugged with Aviv, which is an area where you can subscribe and get a monthly in-depth session with me where I every month choose something. I ask the community of Unplugged with Aviv, and I have a session that's usually around 45 an hour long. You can ask questions live, you can submit questions before and after, and invest in yourself regularly. But I've just added another tier which allows you, all you can get async access to me, as in you can just submit questions that are not related to those in-depth sessions, but also any question, whatever that comes, that's related to your work. Okay, so if you want to have like an Aviv in your pocket where you can ask me questions and I'll get back to you, check it out. The link will be in the show notes of this episode. And now let's talk about arranging chairs on the deck of the Titanic. I don't know if you've watched the Titanic by now. It feels to me like almost an historic movie, because when I tell my kids it's a movie that I watched when I was in elementary school and I do the math of how long that was, I'm like, okay, it's an old movie by now. But there's that scene that people are talking about those people who kept doing that role, right, of arranging the decks as the thing was sinking. Like, okay, that's useless, right? There's no real reason to do that. We're just pretending to be doing the right thing. And unfortunately, I sometimes see the same behavior when I work with companies, because I see leaders who understand that everything around them is like drowning, like the company is not going in the right direction, and yet you see them, you know, that meme of the dog sitting with all the fire around it and saying, you know, this is fine. It's essentially what they're doing. They're focusing solely on whatever they can easily control in front of them and putting their head in the sand when it comes to everything that's going on around them. At the end of the day, there's only so much that a single person can do in a company, especially if you're a hired executive and not a co-founder, of course. And yet, if things are that grave, if things are generally not going in the right direction, I usually say that you only have two real options. One is to leave. Okay, if you feel like there's nothing I can do about this, why waste your time? Two is, if you still care and if you believe that the company can improve, you have to do it. This is extreme ownership, and you know, the real case, not the stuff you keep telling people you care, not the stuff you read in books and be like, yeah, that's what I want to do. No, actual extreme ownership is about seeing when an executive, a peer of yours, is not delivering and finding a way to talk about it, be it with them, be it with the CEO, but tackling it if you feel like this is substantial enough that it's actually harming your organization's potential of doing what it ought to do. Or even if your organization is, in quotes, not affected, but you see how dire this could be for the organization. Like if you have a sales executive who cannot sell at all, even if your team is delivering what it's supposed to be delivering, if sales is not making any progress, the company probably is not going to be doing very well, right? Or if you sense that the CEO is making decisions that you cannot stand, and even after thinking about it, even after, you know, going through it, considering it, giving it a shot a few times, at the end of the day, you just don't believe, can't trust the current strategy, the current way of doing things. This is not about being argumentative. This is about ensuring that you are connected to what is being done. So either, I don't know if there's, you know, today a more correct term than saying man up. You know, that's not gender specific. Did you say person up? But you need to man up. You need to go and address the issue. And this is not about confrontation. I'm not pro confrontation. Anyone who knows me in real life knows I really, really dislike confrontation. And yet, when someone is doing something obviously wrong, avoiding confrontation to the point of essentially ignoring what's actually happening is not going to be helpful for anyone. And therefore, you have to do it as a leader, as an executive, if you actually value your role, if you actually hope to be doing anything of use. So if you notice that you're in such a situation, you have to speak up. You have to learn what's possible to do, what you can change when it comes to your communication with the CEO, for example, in that case. So go to the CEO and say what you're seeing, say what you're not agreeing, talk to your peers to see if maybe they see things differently. So at the end of the day, either you come around and realize, okay, I can see why things are done like that, or you make the case for why you think it ought to be different. You have support from other executives maybe because they agree with you, and that makes confronting, that makes pushing back easier, and you try to change things together. You do not just put your horse blinds and try to only focus on whatever is in front of you, because that often means you're just plowing ahead, ignoring all the rest till it's too late, till you end up having to find a new job anyway. And that's why I said we only have two real options: find a new job or try to fix the job you've got. Yes, even if you're just, air quotes, a VP of engineering, you have a lot of possible impact to do here. And I know that's often not the type of impact that many think about when they take on the position of a tech executive, because they only imagine the impact of pushing with the team to deliver more, etc. But this is what being an executive is about. Otherwise, you're just a glorified manager. If you're part of the executive team, you have to be able to talk to your peers in that team as a peer and give feedback and ensure that things make sense. You're not just taking orders, but you're there and you're helping the company achieve what it ought to achieve. If the bottleneck is not engineering, you have to see how you can help, how you can either help with your organization or personally help as a colleague of those other executives. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is as simple as that. And I believe in you. If you need help with that, that's where a lot of times coaching is really helpful, because people find that this sort of communication is something that's still hard to do, something challenging, and a bit of coaching can really go a long way if you're in that scenario, not just for those people around you that you see are suffering or not delivering, but also for you if you want to ensure that you're doing your maximum and providing impact. So think about that. Try to take steps forward. If you need any help with that, my email's in the show notes, or again, you can check out Unplug with Aviv to submit some async questions. Before letting you go, I'm reminding you that if you haven't checked out yet, my newsletter, which goes out every week, has this podcast, an article, a video, and some other free goodies every week. The link is in the show notes as well, and I'll see you here next week. Ciao.